war in the Middle East, the storms, the volcanoes, the sheer, relentless noise of existence. He looked at the machine on the workbench, a collection of junk, held together by wire and prayer, and for a terrifying moment, he wondered if the madness was not in the man, but in the world itself. "You have no idea how the thing works," the old man said, his voice soft and humble. "All I know is that the voice tells me what it needs and I get it." Dr. Sinclair left, his mind spinning. He tried to write it off as a classic delusion of grandeur. He told himself it was a coping mechanism for a lonely man. But then the news came. A small, obscure island in the South Pacific, a place called Tatoa, had been wiped off the map by a tidal wave at exactly 3:17 in the afternoon. The number echoed in Sinclair's brain. 3:17. The exact time he had seen Mr. Witherspoon working on his machine. A cold sweat broke out across the doctor's brow. He frantically checked the records. He sought confirmation. And with every detail he uncovered, the absurdity of the coincidence turned into the certainty of a nightmare. He rushed back to the apartment, fueled by a panic he had never known in all his years of medical practice. He had to stop the landlady. He had to save the machine. He had to save the world. He found the apartment in disarray, the landlady on the verge of clearing it out. He stopped her, he paid her, he did whatever was necessary to preserve the junk. He felt as though he were guarding the most precious treasure in human history. When he finally caught up with Mr. Witherspoon, he found the old man preparing to leave. The voice had spoken to him again. It had told him to go to Miami. The burden of the balance was to be passed on. "You are off duty," Mr. Witherspoon told him, a strange light in his eyes. "The world still has to be kept in balance. And look, it needs adjusting already." The doctor watched as the old man moved with a final, fluid grace. He saw the machine, he saw the work that needed to be done, and he felt the crushing weight of the responsibility shifting onto his own shoulders. He, the man of science, the man of logic, was being asked to believe in the impossible. But as he watched Mr. Witherspoon walk away, ready to embrace a new life, Dr. Jeremy Sinclair understood. The world was a fragile, ticking thing, and it needed someone to listen to the voices, someone to find the lost objects, someone to ensure that the balance was maintained. He stood in the center of the apartment, the silence pressing in around him. He looked at the workbench, at the piles of paper clips and coat hangers and discarded doll parts. He picked up a small, rusted object, and he felt the rhythm of the universe beneath his fingertips. He knew what he had to do. Somewhere a tambourine was needed. Somewhere the world was on the edge of collapsing into chaos. And it was up to him, the doctor who had once sought to cure madness, to ensure that the world kept turning one small, impossible adjustment at a time. He would learn the language of the voice. He would do the work. Because in the end, there was no difference between the sanity of the world and the madness of the man who held it together. He took a deep breath and he began his work, right there in the Twilight Zone. The apartment building was an aging structure that breathed with the slow, rhythmic settling of floorboards and the occasional sigh of ancient plumbing. It was a place where people lived in close proximity, their lives interwoven by shared hallways and the thinness of drywall. Within this ecosystem, one man stood out like a jarring note in a pleasant symphony. His name was Edgar Witherspoon. To the other residents, and especially to the long-suffering landlady, Mrs. Milligan, he was simply a source of perpetual agitation. He is crazy, that is what he is. A complete lunatic, a nutcase, a genuine wacko. Mrs. Milligan stood in the lobby of the building, her face flushed with a mixture of annoyance and genuine concern, speaking to the man she hoped would solve all her problems. She gestured wildly toward the ceiling, as if she could point directly at the apartment where the source of her distress resided. Uncle Edgar is always looking for things. He does not look for treasures or gold. He looks for things like 3 paper clips or a chrome coat hanger, or perhaps 1 patent leather tap shoe. He rummages through trash cans with the intensity of a man searching for lost diamonds. He goes to garbage dumps, digging through piles of refuse as if they were archives of forgotten history. He is always bothering my other tenants. One day it is bicycle spokes that he requires. The next day it is baseball cards. And who do the tenants complain to when their quiet lives are disrupted by his eccentric quests? Yours truly, she said, smoothing her apron. He will not let anybody into his apartment. Not even his own niece. All that junk he is collecting, it is a fire trap. He could hurt himself. And other people. Namely me. He needs your help. Dr. Jeremy Sinclair, a man whose professional demeanor was as polished as his shoes, listened with a patience born of years of practice. He adjusted his spectacles, his expression neutral but attentive. Yesterday he wanted a yo-yo. By 6 o'clock, she continued, breathless. And last week it was pieces of broken dolls. Heads, arms, legs. Please do something, doctor. Please, for his sake. And ours, of course. The doctor nodded, his mind already piecing together a profile of the man. His bell does not work, Mrs. Milligan noted, as if this were the final piece of evidence of his madness. Ah, Mrs. Milligan, the doctor replied softly. I think he has disconnected it. Down there in the basement. Oh, thank you. Thanks anyway, Mr. Pilchick, she said, realizing her mistake and turning to leave. But I have already found a brass thimble, so I must be going. The doctor watched her depart, then stepped toward the apartment door. You are not Mr. Pilchick, a voice from behind the door suddenly remarked. I am Dr. Jeremy Sinclair, he replied, his voice calm and inviting. May I talk to you, Mr. Witherspoon? Some other time, perhaps, the voice replied, distant and preoccupied. I have to look for a doll head. Inside the room, Edgar Witherspoon existed within a private world of irrational urgencies. To Dr. Jeremy Sinclair, this was an all-too-common sight in his line of work. Yet, as he stood before that closed door, he felt a strange hesitation. Edgar Witherspoon was a most uncommon old man, and there was a secret hidden within those four walls that reached out to the four corners of the earth. As the good doctor was about to discover. Your niece, the doctor began, trying to find a point of connection. She worries about you. She is a very nice woman, so tell her not to worry. See, a simple solution, Edgar replied, opening the door just a crack. Thanks for coming. It has been a pleasure meeting you. But I have to get on with my work. Your work? The doctor asked, leaning forward, his curiosity piqued. I bet you would like to know what it is, would you not? Yes, the doctor admitted. Wrong answer, Edgar chuckled, his eyes bright with a strange, frantic energy. You see a doll head anywhere? You mean like that one? The doctor pointed to a shelf nearby. Ah, too big, Edgar muttered, shaking his head. Also brunette. I need blonde. And I need it in 5 minutes. And what for? You want Santa Barbara to fall into the ocean? Then stand aside, sir. Stand aside. He began to scurry about the room, his movements precise and purposeful. The doctor watched, mesmerized by the sheer volume of oddities that filled the room. Woohoo! Just in the nick of time, Edgar cheered, clutching a small doll head to his chest. No time to lose. Mr. Witherspoon, the doctor tried again, attempting to assert his authority. I am sorry, I should not be rude, Edgar said, stopping in his tracks. You have come all this way to see me. May I come in? And it was so nice, a pleasure meeting you. Tell my niece hello. Now, if you will excuse me, I have to stop the shaking in Santa Barbara. Mr. Witherspoon, the doctor called out, but the old man was already busy. On your way out, could you dump this? He handed the doctor a bag of debris. Good afternoon, doctor, he added, dismissing him entirely. The doctor found himself back in the hallway, the bag of trash in his hand, feeling profoundly confused. Later that day he met with the niece, Cynthia. Did you see Uncle Edgar? She asked, her eyes filled with anxiety. Yes, this morning, the doctor